This is the Guru,
I am Kema the Dilemma,
and we're just trying to solve the world.
one conversation at a time.
So let's get started.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 5 of Conceited Conceptions. Today's topic, we will be discussing the demonstrations that happened in the United States. More specifically, in Charlottesville. My good sir, Cody, are you ready?
Let's get it started.
Alright, here's where I want to start off. Donald Trump, he said that there are some fine people in that group of KKK, neo-Nazi, and white nationalist protesters.
I would like to slap my dick right on that motherfucker's face.
Go crazy. What are your thoughts?
Although I am sure that the people protesting within that, there are some that have some positive characteristics about their, character. Sure.
Yep.
As a whole, are they good people? Obviously not. If you can hold a Nazi flag and you feel in your heart that that is a positive thing to be doing, then you are an evil person just by nature. So right. I don't give a fuck about your other qualities. You can eat a dick. I'm not interested. The qualities I care about is that you have hate in your heart for no other reason than religious belief or color and ethnicity, whatever. That's, you completely judge people solely based off of those characteristics, which makes you not only an idiot, in my opinion, but it just makes you a hateful individual that doesn't display the kind of morals or anything along those lines that would make me deem you as a positive individual. So, fuck that comment.
Alright, so now my next question for you. So, aside from Trump making that comment, what is your take on these people, these, I guess, KKK individuals, neo-Nazi and white nationalists? What is your take on them protesting and gathering? What is your take as a whole?
On just the protesting itself, or what the protesting led to and what they're standing for? Like, what exactly are you asking? Because, and let me be specific, because I'm okay with anybody protesting.
Yeah, I'm just,
protest.
I'm just speaking, just the protesting in itself.
I'm okay with people protesting. I still don't support the message in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it's appropriate to ever spread a hateful message, no matter what. But I also recognize that there is a fine line between free speech and whatever. So if there is no blatant harm, I don't know. I would prefer that they not do it, period. That would be my opinion, and I don't really feel like anybody has the right to spread that kind of shit around, mm-hmm. no matter their position. It doesn't matter to me. However, I know that there is the whole freedom of speech thing and blah, 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 so I'm not entirely sure where the line should be drawn there. I feel like the line should be drawn at anything that leads to harm caused to other individuals. Hate obviously would fall under that. So I would say the line should be drawn there, and therefore they shouldn't be protesting. However, at the same time, it's not a big deal that they just protest, because it's something that mature individuals should be able to look at and just roll their eyes at.
Exactly. Thank you. And this is my take on the whole idea of these people gathering. And I guess it maybe differs for me a little bit, because if you're a black individual, you might take a little more offense where I'm gonna actually get to all.
Are you talking about me personally? Or are you just saying people in general?
I'm saying, a black person would obviously take more offense to these type of gatherings. Do you agree?
Well, not necessarily, because what about Jews?
Oh, well, yeah, obviously, and yeah, for yes, obviously for Jewish people as well. Okay. So anybody that it's anti to, those are the people that would take obviously more specific offense to the gatherings that are happening.
Yeah.
However, here are my thoughts, and I'm also going to go back to what it is that Trump said as well. So, me personally, and just like you, I don't have a problem with these people protesting. All it is a protest or a gathering. They're, in essence, just, I guess, publicly displaying their opinions, which they are negative, but I don't necessarily care. The only thing that I would have to say is, you look at Trump's comment that he made. He said there's some fine people within this group of people who are demonstrating or gathering. Do you know what would never be said in the opposite situation? If this was a Black Lives Matter gathering, have you ever heard anyone say that, how come the comment has never been made that these are, or there are fine individuals within that group of people when they're protesting or gathering? This has never been made. This comment has never been made. And
I'm not so sure about that. It just might not have been made by Trump. And it likely will never be made by Trump.
Yes.
But I'm sure there are politicians at many levels that acknowledge the strife that the colored communities go through and acknowledge that they are not criminals protesting. So, as far as Trump goes, you're probably right.
Do you see the difference between the two, though? You understand what I'm saying? You said
I do.
There aren't criminals in that group, yet Trump says there are fine people in that group.
Yeah, and Trump also said, I don't know if you caught this, but he also said there was people wrong on both sides without ever really condemning the extreme right.
Yes.
So that just goes to show where his allegiances are, but at this point, it really shouldn't be surprising. And I don't really want to put too much focus on Trump because realistically, this is par for the course and we should not expect any different from this man. Is it right? Obviously not. But at the same time, this is just what he is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's where I want to go from here. So we started off talking about the whole gathering and the protests by these people. So now I kind of want to jump into the idea of racism.
Okay.
Now, this is what I want to say about the whole idea of racism. When someone who identifies as being a racist, which these people that are a part of these gatherings, you would consider them or you would identify them as racist, yes or no?
The vast majority of them, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, and we've had this conversation before, so this might get somewhat interesting. Let's see where it goes. A person who identifies themselves as racist. Me personally, and if they're racist against, let's say, black people, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I do not care. And here's why. Because, and this is my example I'm going to give, someone who is, or who identifies as, let's say, being a racist, or who is a racist individual, it's like your girlfriend's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, I don't want to go through this.
Let me explain. It's like your girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. See, your girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, he will probably have a great disdain for you because you are now going out with his former girlfriend.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially or most likely.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, it depends on how the relationship ended and how soon you date the girl after. But yeah, I guess generally there's going to be some type of negative feelings.
Yeah, like disdain or envy, in essence.
Yep.
Now, if that guy, does not do any harm to you, is he in essence of any threat to you?
Oh, this is such a stupid argument. No, but that's completely irrelevant because when we talk about racism, there's a reason that it's given more weight than something like that. Because racism is not on a person-to-person basis. It doesn't matter on a person-to-person basis. Yeah, on a person-to-person basis, it's insignificant. Just in the exact same way you're saying it.
Wait.
But when you have groups and then you have systemic racism, this is when it becomes a problem.
Okay, and I completely agree, and that's something I'm going to get into a bit later on. I completely agree. Now, you're saying the whole idea of it, you said it doesn't affect people, or it doesn't matter on an individual level?
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I did probably use those words, but I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying it's less significant. Because you can brush off one person. What the fuck? Like, who the fuck cares about one person?
Yeah, but isn't that, in essence, how racism is, like, perpetuated? Doesn't it happen on, in essence,
a person-to-person basis?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it depends on the position that person holds, right? Because if you're just a regular individual, it's like, fuck you, and you both get on with your day. Like, whatever. Don't give me that seat on the bus. Don't give me, like, a fucking stank eye. Like, it don't matter.
Yes.
But when it's a person in a position of power, for example, a police officer, your president, shit like that, now it becomes different because it's an individual that's representing something larger and displaying characteristics that you wouldn't want the vast majority of people to have, or anybody at all. Mm-hmm. So it's more detrimental in those situations than just your average person walking down the street.
Yeah, and then plus they carry more power with their position as well. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So in essence, the analogy that I made, and I'm just going to go back to the whole idea of people who are racist. And I think I said this to you before, and I said it numerous times to other people. A person who identifies as being a racist, or let's say they don't like black people, I would honestly love to have a genuine conversation with any and or all people who deem themselves to be anti-black, racist, whatever it is, just to see what their ideologies are as to why it is that they claim to be that way.
Okay, so let me cut you off and let me just run a few points that are going to take some time, but it mildly addresses what you just said.
All right.
So one of the leaders of the extreme right, one person that Vice interviewed, his name is Christopher Cantwell, and he's a big advocate and has quite a big voice in Charlottesville. Anyway, I'm not sure how national he is, but as far as the particular incidents in that location, he had quite a large following and voice.
Yeah.
Now, this guy said two things. First of all, he constantly referred to any ethnicity outside of basically pure Aryan as like vermin, monsters, filth, etc., etc. So it got me thinking, when you see a new culture, okay, so let's say you're a kid, and you go to school and you're learning about, let's say, India, okay, and that's a culture that's obviously vastly different from our own.
Yeah.
There's two things that are going to happen, or that have the potential to happen. Either one, the differences are going to scare you.
Yes.
Or they're going to intrigue you.
Yes.
There's really no middle ground. You're either going to be interested by it, mildly, when it's brand new, and then probably not care about it after that. Or you're going to be scared of it. It's going to make you uneasy for some
Yeah, because it's
reason.
foreign.
Exactly. And it seems like most of the far-right people that were interviewed seemed to me that they would fall under the fear. Because what they don't realize is that there's probably not very many of them at all that are pure Aryan, number one. But if we go to all the adjectives he used, monsters, shit like that,
yeah,
I would like to present some statistics for him. And anybody who seems to think that that's an appropriate label to put on people of color, or this man even included Jews, so it's not even just people of color, but regardless.
Yeah.
Some statistics that I got are, that white people make up, in the United States, 58.6% of the prison population. That deads your whole fucking argument. It deads the whole thing. We are just as much monsters as anybody else.
it's too bad that you're getting into this now because you're actually jumping the gun on something I wanted to get into. I'll still mention it later on, but continue going. This is good.
So for males though, because that was a collective of male and female prisons.
Yeah.
For males, this is a 2013 stat, so it's a little low, but I'm sure it's still accurate, plus or minus a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Black males made up 37%,
mm-hmm.
and white males made up 32%.
Okay.
So the white people could argue statistically, because there is more white people still in America, that white people are slightly less monstrous because per 100,000 people, a lot less are ending up in prison.
Yeah.
However, there's still people, and still a good number of people, committing the same fucking crimes of all color. I also have I actually didn't write it down, but the Hispanic number was very similar in the 30 percentile range as well. Everybody is equally represented in prison. It's like 30 plus or minus a few percent, and that's what makes up prison.
Yeah.
So to label these people as monsters and whatever, it's just not right. Now, something else he said quick. He's like, we need someone, speaking about in the presidential position, we need someone who is more racist than Trump, because I would never let Ivanka be married to a Jew. That's what this guy said.
Okay.
Well, first of all, you're an idiot, because being married to a Jew, if you're Donald Trump and your daughter is married to a Jew, you have a financial brain. This guy's probably pretty smart. It's an advantageous thing for you just because, and this is a stereotype, but Jewish people are typically pretty good with money.
Yeah, money handling, yep.
Yeah, so it's a good person to have around. So your own biases about people stop you from actually doing something that could better yourself.
Pretty progressive.
Like, you're so stupid.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you should let your daughter marry someone just because they're going to be of use to you.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
You should just let your daughter marry whoever the fuck she wants anyway.
Yeah.
But they're so close-minded that they can't see even how it would be advantageous for them at certain points. Like, that's just how stupid they are. They can't even do what they're doing to better themselves.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, you can take over from here for a little bit, because that's the majority of what I really wanted to say.
Okay. No, the last thing I just wanted to say, so you brought up the idea of the individual, let's say racism versus, I guess, more people that are in power. The one point that I wanted to go back to is so the idea of, let's say, an individual acting out an act out of racism to, I guess, the group that they are against. This completely goes back to the person who was in the car who ran over the people. Now, the person that he ran over, it was not a black individual. However, it was an individual who was advocating for, I guess, the people that the guy was anti or opposed to.
Yeah. Okay, but hold on. You know that he didn't actually drive into someone, right?
No,
he didn't pick a person. He didn't pick a person out or pick a section out. He drove into a car, and that car hit someone else. He did it intentionally to
cause harm.
Drive the car, cause the harm, but he wasn't signaling any in particular person out.
Mm-hmm.
Or any particular race out. He was just driving. Now, the extreme rights were trying to argue that people were trying to get at that person that was in the car, and his only option was to drive forward. But that's obviously retarded, because he drove forward, hit that car, and then squealed in reverse out of there. Which means he could have squealed in reverse initially. Yeah. So there's that argument gone as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whole lot of stupidity. I can't handle it, my friend. It's a whole lot of jackassery, clowning nonsense that, seriously, did these people not learn anything from history class? You think that your ideologies are progressive and are going to land you anywhere, anytime there was a cause such as this, it was defeated.
Yep.
Whether it be the Civil War in the States or whether it be Nazi Germany. You can't win because you don't represent the majority. You're going to lose every time because you're backwards. That's all I have to say. I'm going to kill somebody.
All right. So the next point that I wanted to get into, the whole idea of racism in itself. I want to ask you, in your opinion, why do you believe racism exists?
Essentially for the same reason I just said about going to school and the fear. Because you're not born with it, right? Mm-hmm. The only way it's going to seem as though you're born with it is if your parents have instilled those values upon you.
Yep.
But it's just fear. Because look, it's the same thing as, I don't know if you talk to your parents about this type of shit, but I've talked to many people around our parents' age and stuff, and every time a new demographic of people comes into a country, it makes the people that feel as though this is their country uneasy because they feel like jobs are going to get stolen and healthcare is going to get leached and welfare is going to get leached and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Every single time. It doesn't matter if it's from Syria, it doesn't matter if it's like Afghanistan, it doesn't matter Vietnam, like it doesn't fucking matter. They're always paranoid because they feel like they're being slighted.
Yeah.
Or it's going to result in them being slighted. Well, the bottom line is the world, realistically, in my opinion, shouldn't really have borders to begin with. And I understand now it's like the safety aspect, and because of that, I'm okay with it and whatever. But I don't really think that I should have to apply to go to another country. The land is the land. Nobody owns the land. You know what I mean? Like, no, that should have never happened. It shouldn't have progressed in that way.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, I think it's all rooted in fear and unease, and it's fear not necessarily because they're different or they look different. It's fear of what they could do, because nobody wants to be eradicated, right?
Yeah.
And white people, I'm sure, have a great fear of being eradicated, and it's quite possible that it's eventually going to happen if you look at the amount of people from India and you look at the amount of people from Asian countries, and to mix that with Africa and the Caribbean, and it's going to be pretty damn hard for whites to sustain themselves. Like, this is not going to happen. There's soon there will be it'll probably result in there not being like a lot of white skin tone people.
Yeah.
But who the fuck cares? It's a skin tone. Who cares? But these people are afraid. And, I mean, I think, too, it's fear of the loss of power. Because for so long, who's held all the power? White people. And we still do, to an extent. But people are scared of being the minority. They don't want to be the minority because they never had to, and what's that going to look like? Well, you get to taste your own fucking medicine, and hopefully when white people are the visual minority, whoever is the visual majority deals with that situation better than we did. Because we exploited the fuck out of people. Hopefully they don't do the same to us.
Yeah. It's actually interesting that you're going down this route, because you said that, in essence, white people would be in fear of being, in essence, I guess, inferior, correct?
Yeah.
More or less. In many different types of ways. This is why my idea of people being racist, I actually believe it has, and we were having this convo in the car while we were heading to the club on Saturday. I believe that a lot of racism has to do with socioeconomics.
Okay, go in depth a little bit with that.
Okay. And this is I'm going to make a reference point to what you're saying and the whole idea of inferiority first.
Hold on, wait. Before we go into that, because this seems like a whole new topic branch.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of EP number 5. We will have part 2 out in a couple of days. Stay tuned.